गुड इवनिंग जेंटलमैन। दोस्तों, गुड इवनिंग। मैं आज एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दे पे आपके साथ बात करने वाला हूँ। एंड दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स एट फील एट द मोमेंट, एंड दिस कंसर्न्स द यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट। एंड द सेकंड थिंग is this plan to sabotage the presidency of Donald Trump. Now, you must be knowing that Donald Trump has won the election handsomely by a big margin, and the Democratic candidate Kamala Harris has been routed. But he will take charge only on the 20th of January. This is a peculiarity of the American system, and he's got another 2 months to go before he sits down and becomes the President of America. Now, one thing which Donald Trump has been repeatedly stressing is that when I'm going to be president, the first thing I'm going to do is to stop the Ukraine war. Zelensky is frightened like a rat because he doesn't know what to do. And though in a statement he had said that since Trump is coming into power, probably the war will be stopped. But there are forces in America who are out to sabotage not only the American state, but the presidency of Donald Trump. There is a deep state in America. Basically, it is the military economic complex and the hawks which are there in the Democratic Party who are out to sabotage not only the presidency of Donald Trump, but they have a plan to see that the war in Ukraine continues. And now, as per the information I'm getting, is that Joe Biden, who's not supposed to take any important step in the present time when he's a lame duck president, has given an okay to Ukraine to bombard Russia with missiles anywhere they feel, whether it's Moscow or St. Petersburg or any place they feel they can do it. And this is a very, very dangerous decision which Joe Biden has taken. I don't know whether this man is in proper senses, because by doing such a thing, he's dragging the world to World War III. And he's a man who's got nothing to lose because he's got just 2 months to go. He'll become president, have a good time, and try and go home and do fishing. And he would have had his vengeance on the American public, the American state, and of course on Donald Trump, who defeated his candidate. This, gentleman, is a very, very serious matter and should be taken with the seriousness it deserves. Donald Trump has said that I can do nothing at the moment till I'm sitting in the president's chair. And he has repeatedly said that all he requires is 24 hours and he will ensure that the Ukraine war is finished. And Putin also is keen to get the war over. But the American military complex, the big companies like Lockheed, they are really frightened because their money would be cut. Now, you must remember that whatever military aid or whatever running into 60 billions or 90 billion dollars which have been given by America to Ukraine doesn't go into the pockets of anybody, but it comes back to the Americans. And the liability to pay ultimately is with Ukraine. Now, in case Donald Trump comes to power and this war is stopped, then these big military complexes like the Lockheed Martin and others won't be getting any of their money. That means their blood will be dried and they may have to think of other means. So they don't want the war to stop and they want the war to continue, and they are going to present Donald Trump with what in English called a fait accompli. Fait accompli means something which is done, which Donald Trump will find it very difficult to unravel. The aim is to keep the war going by attacking Russia with all force, with all missiles, whatever have been given to Ukraine. So Ukraine, I believe, has been given the go-ahead to go and attack any place, and whatever you do, finish up the matter within 2 months before Donald Trump comes. You can just imagine what a nefarious activity this man Joe Biden is doing. I mean, he is in a sense a traitor to humanity. We must ensure that we don't get into a problem with others and create a problem, for the future generation to come. And this is what is important. It's a very important thing. But who's going to stop Joe Biden? I think the American Senate can gang up and impeach the president immediately, and this majority leader and the other members of the Senate can go to Joe Biden and tell him that he better stop on these things. But I don't think it's going to happen. He's going to use his prerogative as the president of the United States, and he's already given instructions to Ukraine, I believe so, to launch the attack on Russia. Now, in this connection, you must just remember a statement during a press conference made by Vladimir Putin. What did he say? He said, our earlier doctrine was that we would only respond with nuclear weapons in case a nuclear uh, country attacked us. But he's changed that doctrine. He said, if a non-nuclear station attacks us, we have forced, we will use nuclear weapons at the first opportunity. That means the world is sitting on a threshold of a nuclear war or World War III, thanks to men like Joe Biden. Joe Biden reminds me of Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini. These two men were doing the same things, and they went into the dustbin of history. Of course, Biden will go into the dustbin of history, but he's not really bothered, The American state is a flawed democracy. I've said it a number of times. Once a man has been elected president, why the hell should he wait for 2 months to take over as the presidency? Why can't it be within 10 days? Because this creates a situation where the incumbent, who's already the president, has carte blanche to do anything, and he can do anything, launch wars, do this thing and that thing, and could damage America to a great extent. You see, if this war is launched, the Russians react. You think Americans are going to be scot-free? It's not going to happen that way. But Biden is not interested, and neither are some of the Democrats who are supporting him. So, gentlemen, it's a very serious situation, and I hope sanity will prevail on Zelensky and he doesn't do it. Because one thing is very clear, that this is going to be the swan song or the destruction of Zelensky and Ukraine. Whatever happens, World War III or whatever takes place, or 4 or 5 takes place, I think Ukraine would be written off for the next 100 years. Now, does Zelensky want it? I don't know. And it depends on what the other European powers are thinking. As I've already pointed out a number of times, that some of the European countries are so small, just equal to a few districts of India, that 1 or 2 thermonuclear bombs and they'll cease to exist in the world. I mean, do they want that? Joe Biden's taken a very, very calculated step. And I think he's having a sense of frustration also, because not only the Democratic Party didn't give him a nomination, and he doesn't like going into the sunset as being one of the presidents who achieved a big zero. So, gentlemen, I don't think I'll continue further on this point. It's a very dangerous position, and I hope it doesn't take place, and you, me, and others in it don't have to pay the price of the foolishness of Joe Biden. Let's hope and see what happens. In the meanwhile, I hope you like this video. Please share with your friends. Come back for more. And I'll say goodbye, God bless, and Jai Hind. Look after yourself.